All right, there we go. All right, so find your way to your mat, and we're gonna start in a seated position. So a comfortable seat for you can look like just an easy seat. With legs crossed. It may mean coming into hero's pose, so kneeling, maybe with a blanket or a block underneath the sitting bones. Finding your comfortable seat, and even if you're in just an easy seat, it can feel nice. I'm gonna grab a blanket to sit on, just to give a little cushion. You need some more elevation, a pillow, a block, leave right here. And anytime, if you're in an easy seat like I am with legs crossed, and I'll cue this, we want to make sure that we even it out. We tend to always put the same foot in front. So about halfway through sitting here, I'll cue you to switch the other foot in the front just to keep things even. All right. So start to lengthen the spine wherever you are, whatever kind of posture you are in, aligning your spine with the earth-sky axis and imagining just a string tied to the top of your head, just connected to the ceiling, pulling you up. Kind of lifting the torso out of the hips a bit. Start to settle in here. Maybe bringing the hands to rest on the top of the legs, or maybe bringing hands to your baby space, or one hand to your baby, one hand to your heart space. And feel free to link the eyes closed, or maybe bring the eyes to a soft gaze. Starting to notice the breath, wherever it is, however you're arriving here this evening. And start to bring your attention to the muscles in the face. So allowing the muscles in the forehead to relax, the eyes to soften, the jaw to relax, maybe parting the lips slightly, bringing shoulders away from the ears. Continuing to sit up nice and tall with a long, tall spine, and noticing the areas of your body that are making contact with the earth beneath you. So your sitting bones, outer edges of your ankles, maybe the front of the calves if you're kneeling. And just really ground down in those areas that are making contact. Start to bring your attention to your breath as you inhale, filling up your front body, sending breath down to your baby space, expanding the belly, expanding the chest. And as you exhale, allowing the chest and belly to relax and soften. Continue breathing deeply. Imagining your torso as a container, so as you inhale, filling up from the bottom, from your root, your base, all the way up to the top of your torso. And then as you exhale, allowing the container to unfill from the top down to your base. And taking a moment as you continue these deep, long inhales and long exhales to just notice where your mind is in this moment. No judgment or worries if the mind is distracted or active, or maybe it's still. Just noticing. And throughout our practice, if the mind begins to come back to your thoughts, or the mind begins to race as the mind does, just practicing coming back to the breath with gentleness and using that opportunity to come back to the breath with compassion. By practicing coming back to our breath with compassion, and just repeating that pattern allows us to rewire the brain a bit, become less harsh, less critical. Noticing where the mind is, and then just allowing ourselves to focus on the breath. We'll take a few more breaths here before we get into our movement, and maybe in this time, you'd like to set an intention for your practice, a word or a phrase. Maybe taking a moment to send a message to baby. Taking one more breath here. And then if the eyes are closed, just allow them to blink open. You can bring the hands down to the knees or the thighs. And we'll start with some neck and neck rolls and kind of get into the rest of the body here. And so if you're sitting with one foot in front of the other, just take a moment to switch them now. All right, and we're just going to start just gently isolating the neck here. So on your next inhale, gently tilt the head back, chin opens, throat opens. And then as you exhale, bringing chin to chest, coming forward, continuing to sit up nice and tall here. Inhale, chin back. Exhale, chin to chest. Noticing any areas that feel stuck, maybe pausing there for a moment, moving with the breath as you inhale, opening up the throat. And exhale, chin to chest. One more, just like that. Inhale. And exhale. All right, on the next inhale, bring right ear to right shoulder. Just kind of roll it over. Exhale, chin to chest, rolling forward. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. So we're kind of just moving in little semicircles here as you inhale, rolling right ear to right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Continue moving with the pace of your own breath. Again, pausing in any spots that feel stuck or sticky. Noticing if the shoulders have started to creep up here, and just allow them to fall away from the ears. Continuing to feel grounded and rooted in your sitting bones, any areas that make contact with the earth. All right, do one more on each side, and then we'll return to a neutral spine. Head and eyes gazing forward. Good. So taking the right hand next to your right sitting bone, maybe close or maybe far out, we're going to take a nice side bend. So extend the left arm overhead and then start to bend towards the right, keeping both sitting bones grounded. So if you start to feel the left hip kind of creep up, try to keep it grounded, maybe keep your bend a little shorter. You can bend that right elbow as much as you need, feeling the opening on the left side body. One more breath. And then slowly come back to center. Maybe roll the shoulders up and back, up and forward. Before before we go on the other side. So left hand to the ground, and then extend the right arm overhead. Start to bend towards the left, feeling that opening from the right underarm all the way down to the right hip, keeping the sitting bones grounded. Starting to open up that good space on the side of the body, space for baby, space for breath. And then start to come back to center. Maybe roll the shoulders, any intuitive movements that feel good for you in this moment. All right. So we're going to come to tabletop, hands and knees. So just taking the legs on one side and just swinging them around, coming to hands and knees. And as always, having a blanket nearby for maybe under the knees or the wrists, blocks under the hands, especially if you're feeling any nausea. To keep the chest a little elevated here is a great modification. So as you arrive here in hands and knees, you want to stack the shoulders over the wrists and hips over the knees and start to hug in around baby. So activating the abdominal wall. So we're stabilizing the core here. And that can almost feel like pulling belly button towards spine. Spreading fingertips wide. This can be a really active pose. So you can keep the toes tucked, or you can have the top of the foot flat on the ground. And if you do, you can even push the shins kind of against your mat to really feel that activation. Pushing the mat away with your hands to stabilize the shoulder. All right, so from here, keeping all of that activation, all that engagement in the belly, we're going to start moving through cat and cow. So as you inhale, fill up the belly and start to lift the hips, the heart, the head. And then as you exhale, curve the spine, tuck the tailbone, chin to chest, cat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat tilt. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, cat tilt. You want to think about initiating this movement from the pelvis, continue moving with the breath. So almost creating a wave-like shape with the spine as you move. So the last thing to fall into place is the crown of the head. This cow and cat tilt is wonderful for continuing to tone the abdominals throughout pregnancy, continuing to engage the abdominal wall. We can relieve some of that low back and hip pain. Taking one more cow and one more cat. Then we're going to start to make some hip circles. So continuing to move with the breath as you inhale, bring the right shoulder towards the right hip and circle the hips around. And exhale, come into that cat tilt. So inhale, circling the hips towards the right, continuing that cow and cat movement, but just kind of introducing a different dimension here. Maybe bending the elbows if you need to. Moving with the breath, moving intuitively what feels right for you and your baby in this moment. One more in this direction. And then when you get back to that cat tilt, just start to circle in the other direction towards the left. Continuing to move with the breath, your pace. Maybe closing the eyes here, entering a little bit of a flow. Taking one more circle in this direction. And then you can return to that neutral spine and tabletop. All right, so hugging it around baby. Coming back to that neutral spine. And we're just going to bring the knees to the outer edges of the mat, maybe even wider, depending on what feels good for you today. And we're going to come back into child pose, so sitting back on the feet. So feet together, knees wide. I like to bring a bolster, a pillow to lie down on. Maybe you like to bring a block under the forehead. And if you're feeling some tightness in the back of the legs, having a rolled up blanket or towel under the hips can feel really nice here. Allowing the abdominals to soften and relax here. Imagining in this pose our bellies kind of become a hammock for baby. It gives us some space, gives baby space. And if you want to keep this pose more active, you can always keep the hands, the palms of the hands against the mat and press the hands into the mat to sit back a little further if that kind of hip opening feels right for you. Taking one more breath here. All right, start to come up. Come back to that tabletop shape. Moving any props that you need out of the way. We're going to come into sunbird. So hug in around baby. Fingers are spread out wide. Start to extend the right foot towards the back of the mat, so tucking the toes under. And taking a moment to rock back and forth, opening up in the back. Starting to awaken the muscles in the legs. All right, come to stillness here, keeping that leg extended. Hug in around baby and start to extend the opposite arm forward, left hand forward. You can keep the foot grounded or start to lift sunbird. Wherever you are, continue to hug around baby. Inner thighs in towards the midline here, and breathe. Extending fingers and extending the heel in opposite directions. Strong belly, strong back. Pressing that right hand into the mat. One more breath. And release, bringing that hand down, bringing that foot in, and then taking a moment to wag the tail here. Lots of strength in that posture. Take a moment to release the hips, wagging the tail before we go into the other side. All right, whenever you're ready, extend that left foot to the back of the mat, tucking the toes, and again, rocking back and forth here, maybe feeling some cracks and pops in the ankle as we begin to awaken here. Continuing to spread the fingertips wide, hugging around baby, belly button to spine. And then coming to stillness. You can keep the foot grounded as we extend that right hand forward or begin to lift it up sunbird. Continuing to activate the adductor muscles, those inner thigh muscles, bringing them in towards one another. Activating the abdominal wall, hugging around baby. Heel and fingertips pulling away in the opposite direction. One more breath. And release, bringing hand and leg down, wag the tail. Prenatal yoga is a balance of finding the the restorative aspects, the stretching, the resting, but also finding strength that we need to prepare for childbirth, for parenthood in general. All right. So when you're ready, tucking the toes under, we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. Again, any modifications you need to make, feel free, whether that's hands on blocks or hands on blankets, or maybe staying in tabletop if this is too much, if this inversion is not feeling good for you today. But if you are a downward facing dog, bringing the heels towards the mat and lifting the tailbone up. So untucking that tailbone, imagining a string tied to the end of the tailbone, lifting it towards the ceiling. Pressing hands into the mats, stabilizing the shoulders, and breathing here. Maybe pedaling out the heels. As we come into this first downward facing dog, one more breath. And then start to walk the hands to your feet to come into a forward fold. Now, forward fold is going to look a lot different depending on how much space baby is taking up. Maybe your feet are as wide as your mat, maybe even wider. Maybe the legs are bent. I like to bring the hands to blocks to keep the hands out and keep that space in the front body. That can feel really great. So kind of like downward dog arms. So finding your fit, your fold. Maybe taking a moment to shake the head, yes and no. And again, we still want to untuck the tailbone here. So not rounding at the low back, but really bringing that tailbone up. Almost like a happy puppy, just wagging its tail. One more breath here. All right, inhale, halfway lift, hands can come to the shins or the thighs. Exhale, hands to hips, hug around baby. Inhale, rise up to stand. And exhale, firm the thighs and tailbone is kind of anchored down towards the ground. Inhale, circle the arms down, around and up overhead, stretching up high. And as you exhale, hands come down towards your baby space. Let's take 3 breaths here. Blink the eyes open. Bring the feet out to the width of your mat if they aren't already, and turn the toes out. We're going to come into Malasana. So this can be modified. If you're having some of that pubic symphysis pain, you may want to stay up higher and not go all the way down. Or you can have a block or a blanket to have support in Malasana. So I'll show you all of those. So let's take a big inhale, circle the arms down, around and up overhead. And as you exhale, hands come down the center line, come into Malasana. So staying up here high, if you're having any of that pain, or you can come all the way down to full Malasana. And if you'd like some support, a block or a blanket can feel really nice under the sacrum, if you choose. If you are all the way down, we want to bring the thumbs to the breastbone, the chest, and press thumbs into chest, chest into thumbs, so we can really expand the chest open. Outer edges of the feet are grounded. And if you're feeling tight in the back, if your heels aren't making contact with the ground, bringing that block underneath, or maybe even putting a blanket under the heels can be a good option. One more breath here. All right, let's start to walk the hands out, finding your way back to tabletop. Moving any props that you need. All right. Inhale, extend the right foot to the back of the mat. This time, we're going to open up to the right side of our mat, coming into side plank. Move this out of the way. We're facing the right edge of our mat, left hand grounded. Right hand can come up overhead to the hip, or maybe bring the right arm to right ear. Gaze can be up, out, or down. Continue to hug in around baby here, feeling the opening in the side body. And you can keep that foot grounded, or if you choose, maybe lifting it up. Listening in to what your body needs in this moment. Wherever you are, hugging around baby, continuing to breathe. One more breath. And then if your leg is lifted, just bring it back down. We're going to come into gate pose. So bring the chest up. I'm sorry, I'm facing the back right now. And coming into gate pose, so we're going to bring that right arm down the length of the right leg and extend the left arm overhead, finding that side bend on the opposite side. Gaze can be up, out, or down. Tuck the tailbone under, hug around baby. One more breath here. All right. Bring the chest up. We're going to bring this right leg kind of into a kickstand. So bend it so the right toes are facing the back of the mat. Then we're just going to come and sit down here. So your left foot is underneath the sitting bones and the right leg is bent. Bringing that right hand down in front of you and then extend the left arm overhead. You can use that right arm that's making contact with the right leg to kind of press into one another so you can open up the chest towards the sky. All right, we're going to flow a little bit here. So as you inhale to prepare, I want you to exhale and then come back to that side plank position. And inhale, extend the arm out. Exhale, come back to that bent knee shape. Inhale, extend the arm overhead. Exhale, side plank. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, sitting down. Inhale, left arm overhead. Exhale, come back to side plank. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, sitting down. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, coming back to the front of the mat. So just bringing both hands down, coming back to that tabletop shape. Wagging the tail, if that feels good. Then we're going to go into the other side. So inhale, extend the left leg to the back of the mat this time, and then open up to the left side, side plank. Same options as the other side. You can keep the foot grounded or lifted. Arm can be up overhead to the hip, or maybe left arm to left ear. Gaze can be up, out, or down. Hug around baby. Pressing that right hand away from the mat to really stabilize that shoulder so we don't sink in there. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. All right, if that leg is lifted, bringing it back down to the mat. And then cartwheel the arms, bringing the chest up, coming into gate pose. So left arm down the length of the left leg, and then right arm extends overhead, feeling the opening in the right side body. Gaze is up, out, or down. One more breath here. And then just lift the chest. We're going to bend that left leg and come into that seated, kind of almost half Malasana, if you will. Yeah. So ground that left hand down and right arm comes overhead. Again, if that if that left arm is making contact with the left leg, you can press them into one another, using that as leverage to open up more towards the sky. And then let's start to flow. So inhale to prepare here. As you exhale, come back to that side plank. Inhale, arm comes overhead. Exhale, coming back to that seated shape. And inhale, extend the arm overhead. Exhale, side plank. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, sitting down. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, side plank. Inhale, arm overhead. Exhale, sitting down. Inhale, arm overhead. We'll do one more each way. Exhale, side plank. Inhale, sweep the arm overhead. Exhale, sitting down. And inhale, sweep the arm overhead. Beautiful. Bring both arms to the front of the mat, coming back to that tabletop shape. Maybe wag the tail. And then when you're ready, coming into downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips. Fingers spread wide, pressing into the mat, almost like you're clawing into the mat with your fingertips. Aware that you're breathing in, and aware that you're breathing out. Start to walk the hands towards the back of the mat, forward fold. So finding your fold, your fit. One breath here, letting the neck release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to hips, hug around baby. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, firm the thighs, tailbone anchors down. Inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up overhead. Exhale, hands down to your baby space. 3 breaths here. All right. Blink the eyes open. We're going to come into our chair squats here. So like I said, we like to build some strength, get a little fire going in the legs that support our pelvis. If you have a block nearby, grab it. We're going to place that in between the thighs. If you don't have a block, a thick blanket or a towel that you can just kind of roll up is great too. Just so we want our feet about hips width distance, and we want to be able to really squeeze into whatever is in between. So fold it up thick if you're using that blanket or towel. All right. So wherever you are, and if you don't have those props either, totally fine. You can still do chair squats without anything. This is just some good feedback for us so we can really focus on squeezing in. All right, so feet are about hips width distance apart. And again, if you have something in between the thighs, you want to squeeze in here. This is going to help with some of that pubic symphysis pain, the pelvic pain, activating the adductors here. All right, we're going to be chair squatting. On the inhale, we're going to sit back, and the exhale coming up. And when we inhale sitting back, we want to really fill up the lungs. Diaphragm lowers, pelvic floor relaxes. And when we come up, we want to pull the pelvic floor in and up, 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 up. All right? So we're going to do 5 here, and then 5 with a different prop if we have it. So let's go. So inhale, sitting back, squeeze the inner thighs together. Exhale, coming up to stand, pelvic floor toes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, pelvic floor relaxes. Exhale, pelvic floor tones in and up. Inhale, squeeze the inner thighs. Exhale, coming up. We'll do 2 more here. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. All right. So if that felt good, stick with it. I'm just realizing right now that I don't know if I don't have my strap. But if you are having some more of that low back sacrum pain, grab your strap or dog leash or scarf and tie it around the outside of your thighs. So you want it about hips width distance apart. I don't know where my strap went to. So tie it around. Again, if that felt good with the block, stick with it. Or you don't have to have anything. But if you have the strap for these, you want to focus on pressing outwards. And this can feel really good for like broadening the low back and sacrum to relieve some of that pain. So wherever you are, block, strap, nothing. Coming back to that, we'll do 5 more in with whatever prop you have for this round. All right, inhale, sitting back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Toning pelvic floor in and up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll do 1 more. Inhale, sitting back. And exhale. Beautiful. Remove whatever props you have. And then meet at the back of the mat, coming to that wide stance, feet turned out to the width of the mat, coming into Malasana. Inhale, circle the arms down, around and up. Exhale, hands down the center, coming to that modified or full Malasana. Taking 2 breaths here, lifting that chest, spine is long. Good, and walk the hands out, finding downward facing dog. Aware that you're breathing in, and aware that you're breathing out. Lifting the tailbone up, fingers spread wide. Shift your gaze to the hands and bring your right thumb to meet your left thumb and start to walk that right foot forward to the right edge of the mat, or excuse me, right corner of the mat. Outside of the right hand. Yeah, you can take as many steps as you need, coming into a lunge shape. So once you arrive here, you can drop the knee and untuck the toes. Now lots and lots of options here. I personally love to have a block. I kind of mentioned this earlier with the sciatic pain. To prop a block kind of on a diagonal here at the left thigh to serve as a boundary. So in pregnancy, we have increased relaxin hormone. We can almost feel a little bit more flexible or too flexible in our pregnancy, and that can lead to some destabilization of the pelvis and the hips. So we want to use that as a support. So we're not going too deep into the lunge. Sometimes it can feel really good, but then we can feel some destabilization there. So if you have that block, just try it out, see where that feels good. And we really want to hug in here. So bringing the inner thighs in toward one another, so not letting that right leg kind of splay out to the side here. Now, you can keep the fingertips at the mat or to a block if that feels good. Or you can stay lifted, walking the hands up the thighs, maybe bringing your hands overhead. Wherever you are, finding your stillness, finding your breath, whether you're down, whether you're up, balance allows. Continuing to hug the inner thighs in towards one another, hug around baby. Good. If you're up, start to remove that block if you have it. And we're going to shift the weight to the back leg, coming into half splits. So the right leg is now extended, and our weight is shifted towards the left, towards the back. Finding that right hamstring stretch. Now the knee can be bent as much as you need. Maybe, for me, my hamstrings are always a little bit tight. Noticing the tailbone. So just like we untucked it in downward facing dog and forward fold, we can untuck it here. So instead of rounding from the low back, untucking here to open up the back of the body. Sending breath here. If you need to prop the hands up on a block, feel free. Or maybe walking the hands forward if that's accessible to you. All right, start to look forward. We're going to flow a little bit. So as you inhale, come back to that lunge shape just for a breath. And then exhale, half splits. So we're going to shift back and forth here. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half splits. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half splits. One more, inhale. And exhale. Good. Start to just bring that right foot back, that right leg back, coming into tabletop. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, cat tilt. Inhale, find that neutral spine. And as you exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Shift the gaze towards the hands, this time bringing the left thumb to meet the right. And then walking that left foot forward, taking as many steps as you need to come into your lunge shape. Now, each side can feel drastically different, that's normal. So finding your lunge on the side. So having that block nearby or two, propping the block at the right thigh if that felt good and you want to still maintain that boundary. You're going to have another block at your hands, or maybe walk the hands up and extend your arms overhead. Wherever you are, continue to hug the inner thighs in towards the midline here. Really keeping this active and engaged pose, finding strength here. Hugging a round baby. If your arms are overhead, noticing if the shoulders have crept up towards the ears and allowing them to relax. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. All right, remove the block if you have it there. You can bring your hands to the block or to the mat and start to shift your weight back for half splits. So left leg is extended and you're shifting the weight towards the back leg, that right. Same options as the other side. Maybe that leg is bent, not all the way straight. I'm gonna start to untuck the tailbone here. You can keep the chest lifted, hands at a block, or maybe walk the hands forward if that feels accessible. If you're walking the hands forward, you're probably gonna wanna walk towards the right corner to make space for baby. Maybe dropping the head to look back at the right leg. If balance allows. All right, looking forward, inhale, coming back to that lunge shape. Exhale, half splits, coming into that flow and left. Inhale, coming forward, shifting the weight. Exhale, half splits. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, filling up the lungs, lifting the head, lifting the heart. Exhale. Inhale, coming forward, this time just taking that left leg back, coming into tabletop position. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, cat tilt. Inhale, neutral spine. And exhale, coming into downward facing dog. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Inhale, looking forward. We're going to walk that right foot forward to the outside of the right hand. Plant that back foot down at a 45-degree angle. And then walk the hands up the thighs, coming into warrior two. So opening up the arms, finding strength here. Taking as many steps and as many motions as it takes to come up to warrior two. We're gonna take a little movement here. So inhale, straighten that front leg and arms come overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, bring that left hand to the left leg and reverse your warrior, right arm overhead, keeping that bend in the front knee. Inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, cartwheel the arms coming into side angle. So that right forearm to the right leg, or if you would like to extend it down maybe to a block or the floor, that's an option here. If your forearm is at the leg, maybe bringing that right hand to baby. Left arm can stay at the hip or extend it overhead or bring left arm to left ear. Pressing the feet, grounding the feet into the mat. Breathing here. Imagining that you have a string tied to the right rib cage, right side of your rib cage. It's twisting and opening up towards the sky. One more breath here. All right, coming back to warrior two, straightening the leg and just coming up to the front of the mat, meeting a mountain pose. So you can walk up there, you can find your way there in whatever way feels good. And taking a moment to pause in mountain pose, so palms can face forward or bring the hands to your baby space. Taking a moment to reset here, bring the attention back to the breath, back to your intention. Maybe taking a moment to connect with baby, sending a message of loving kindness. I am an unlimited being, receiving from an unlimited source. And I am deeply, profoundly connected to this growing life inside of me. When you're ready, blinking your eyes open. And then bringing the feet out to the width of the mat. Inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up overhead. Exhale, Malasana, modified or full, staying for just a moment. And then when you're ready, bring the hands down to the mat, walking the feet back. You can go through table or go straight to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift your gaze to your hands and bring that left foot to the outside of the left hand, planting that back foot at a 45-degree angle, and then start to walk the hands up the thighs, starting slowly coming into your warrior two. Taking as much time as you need to get there, firming the thighs, planting the feet. Strong arms, strong belly, strong mom. Gaze is over the middle fingertip, shoulders away from the ears. And let's start to flow. As you inhale, rise up, straighten that front knee. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, I gather all the energy that belongs to me. Exhale, releasing anything that does not. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, right arm to the back leg, reverse your warrior. Keeping the bend in the front knee, gaze to the sky. Inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, cartwheel the arms, side angle. Forearm to the thigh, or extend that arm down to the block or mat. If the forearm is at the thigh, maybe bringing the hand to your baby space. Top arm is at the hip, overhead, or to the ear. Chest expansive, breathing deeply. All right, start to cartwheel the arms, coming back to warrior two. Straightening the leg and meeting at the top of the mat. Taking a moment to maybe shift the hips from side to side. And we're gonna make our way back down to the mat. So I know we've done a lot of Malasanas today. If you're feeling like I'm done with that, feel free to just make your way down by kneeling, or you can join me in one more Malasana. Inhale, circling the arms down, around, and up. And exhale, coming down to the mat. Again, you can just come straight down to the mat if that feels better. All right, bring our hands down. We're gonna make our way onto our backs. So throughout pregnancy, we always want to come to our side first, maintaining the integrity of the core. So come to the left side and just come down to your side and then roll to the back. So it allows us to keep the core nice and stable, not protruding or exerting anything that we don't want. Allows us to maintain integrity here. And we're gonna come into bridge pose. So if you have a block nearby, I should have told you to grab it before we lay down, I apologize. Maybe you wanna bring that in between the thighs. Again, if you're having any of that pubic symphysis pain, any of the sciatic pain, I know a lot of you mentioned, squeezing this block is really just going to give us that feedback to make sure that we're activating the adductors. You can also have a block underneath the sacrum here for supported bridge. Now, if you really liked the way the strap felt during those squats earlier, maybe you want to put a strap around the legs and press outwards in your bridge. So today we're just going to stay in bridge for a few breaths, but that's something you can try on your own, seeing which one feels better for you depending on some of the discomfort you're having. So pressing out into the strap can relieve some of that sacrum and low back pain. All right, so I'll be cueing with the block. So bring the feet about hips width distance, close to your sitting bones. And we want to tuck the tailbone under so the low back is flat against the mat. So there should be no space for anything, not even a sheet of paper to come in between the back and the mat. And we want to maintain in that posture as we lift the hips. So not letting the tailbone untuck or finding an arch in the back this way. All right, so start to press the feet into the mat and lift the hips. Again, we want to keep a nice strong back, strong belly, squeezing the block if you have it in between the thighs. And again, if you want that support under the sacrum, bringing another block underneath. Really pressing the feet into the mat so you can lift the hips up, 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 up. This is strengthening in the thighs, in the pelvis, in the glutes. In the back. Bridge is just an all-around wonderful strengthening pose. And also activates and tones the pelvic floor. So really wonderful posture to get into during prenatal yoga during pregnancy. Continuing to breathe here. One more breath. And then start to roll down the spine, coming back down. Releasing the block if you have it, just moving it to the side. And take a moment to windshield wiper the knees side to side, so bringing them to the left and the right. All right. So we're going to come into Happy Baby before we move into our final relaxation. So you can hug the knees in towards the rib cage, so the outside of the rib cage, kind of making space for baby here. You can stay here just hugging the knees, or if you want to reach for the feet, if that's still accessible, and pull down, feel free. A strap can also be useful here if you want to do one leg at a time. It can feel really nice, and maybe roll slightly side to side, get the low back a little massage. Staying here for as long as you need. But when you're ready, just releasing the legs. And we're going to come into our final relaxation. So I'm going to sit up because there's a couple of suggestions I have. Often as we get further along in the pregnancy, lying right on our back is not super comfortable. You can lie on your back, but maybe prop up like a pillow or a cushion underneath the legs can feel great. Some of the recommendations for final relaxation is coming into a side lie, so left side lying with a pillow or a block in between the knees and the ankles, or a blanket. Kind of just get as cozy as you need. It's nice evening time to downshift. So that can feel really lovely. Also, legs up the wall if you're experiencing any swelling in the ankles, and it also can just feel really lovely. Bringing the legs up to the wall in an L shape with a block or a blanket underneath the sacrum can feel really lovely. Kind of reduce some swelling. And then I'll just show one more. Again, these are all just whatever is feeling good for you. So maybe you've gotten into the side lie and that feels great. Awesome, stay there. So this last one is just, propping up a pillow, a bolster, a cushion on an incline, and then coming just to a reclined position, maybe knees bent or straight, or maybe bringing the feet together for Supta Baddha Konasana. So finding your comfortable final relaxation, and wherever you are, starting to allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. We are going a couple minutes over, so feel free to log off if you need to, but I recommend at least staying in this final rest for a few minutes just to close your practice. Allowing the weight of your body anywhere that is making contact with the earth, allowing yourself to get heavy here, sinking into stillness, allowing your body to drink in all the benefits from your practice this evening. As you come into the most important posture, doing nothing. Feeling the support of the ground beneath you. All of the birthing people that have birthed before you, feeling the support surround you as you continue to rest here. I always end class with pulling a card from a goddess card deck. Oftentimes, the wisdom imparted from the card pulled can be relevant to whatever's going on for you personally, in your pregnancy or beyond. And so the card pulled this evening is Rihanna, the lunar Welsh goddess whose name means great queen. as she serves important functions, including being the muse of inspiration for poets, artists, and royalty. She lovingly carries souls from earth to the afterlife plane upon her trusty white horse, helping them adjust to the transition of life after death. She can appear to you as an animal, bird, or song. Call upon her for help with manifestations, spirit communication, transitions, or artistic inspiration. So a message from Rihanna. A large part of my power stems from my connection to animals and nature. If you've been indoors too long, you can recapture your personal power by simply stepping outside. This simple motion will do you a world of good and reawakening your sleeping, magical, spiritual nature. Allow the light of the sun, the moon, and the stars to stir ancient memories that may be dormant. Recall the times of your magical abilities and then put them to use immediately for the good of the entire planet. Resume the mission that was once aborted through the misdeeds of pastime leaders. Take up your spiritual arms and move with swift speed into the night, awakening one and all to the magic that is life itself. You are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So allow yourself to bring your awareness back into your body, bringing small movements to fingers and toes. And then slowly rolling to the left side of your body in your own time, keeping eyes closed. Taking a moment to pause in gratitude, maybe sending another message of love and kindness to your baby before slowly coming up to a seated position. You can bring one hand to your baby's face and one hand to your heart space. As we end our practice this evening, we end in gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for coming tonight, for showing up. Gratitude for your body, your growing baby. Gratitude for one another for holding this virtual space. And I thank you. I'm grateful for allowing me to be your guide this evening. Taking a deep breath in, circling the arms down, around, and up overhead. And bringing your hands to your third eye center. Keep peace in your mind, strength in your body, and love in your heart. Until next time, be well, and thank you. Sorry we ran a little bit over this evening. I know it's hard to not check in. I know this class is a little bit shorter, so I appreciate all of you guys. If you have any questions, any feedback, I'm always here. And if not, I hope to see you soon. Oh, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Great.
And where do you teach? I'm a teacher too.
I'm a Baltimore City special educator.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm an ESOL teacher, not in the city, but in Columbia.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Zoom, Google Meet brain is real fun for sure, but this is a great way to decompress, so thank you.
Great. I'm glad you could join. Thanks so much. And I hope you continue to feel good, and
thanks.
Hope to see you soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Sally. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.